what has left is to allow a user to log in. We can register, so let's go ahead and implement the login in. And since we are using Passport, Passport is responsible for logging in. Before we can achieve that, unless we configure Passport. So let's get into the utils, and I'm going to create one file called passport-config. So first step is that we need to require the passport. And since our login method is to use the passport looker unless we specify the strategy, so it's going to be as const looker strategy is equal to require the passport and then the passport-looker, and on that we have what is called the strategy. So let's go ahead and then configure the passport looker, and it's going to be on the passport we have what is called use, and as a function call, and inside here this is where we are going to configure it. We will bring in new and then the looker strategy, the one we just imported or required, and inside we're going to pass in two arguments. One is the login method, so here is going to be an object, and then the second one is going to be a callback function as that. So let's begin with the login in method. We can specify either username or email. So here we will say that username field, and we can specify either email or password. But for us, we specified as username upon registration. So let me add something like username or email. You can specify that. We are done with the first one. The second one is going to be the callback function, and we have to mark it as an async. And inside the callback function here, we have access to the email, the password, and then the done function. And since we are logging in with username, let me use the username here, which means that this callback function will contain the information about the user who is logging in. So let's expand this and let's bring try and catch. And inside here, we are going to find the user. So here as const, I will say user is equal to await, and then the user model. The auto import is not working, so let's resave to have the auto import, which is this, and it is working fine. And on that, you're going to use what is called find one, and we want to find by the username, which is this. And let's check if there is no user, meaning that we don't have the user with this particular username who is trying to log in. Alright, so inside here, we're going to throw some error by returning, and we're going to call this callback function called done. And this done is a function, and we're going to pass in 2 or 3 arguments. In case the user is not found, then the first argument is going to be null, and then second argument is going to be false. And then lastly, we're going to provide the custom message. And here I'll provide message, and I will say no user with that email found. Then down here, we know that the user is being found. Therefore, we need to check for the password. And remember, in the DB, we have saved it as hashed password. So we are going to use bcrypt method to compare that password. So it means that we will need the bcrypt package as bcrypt, which is equal to the bcrypt package. So here we will say that verify the password, and it goes like this: const match is equal to await the bcrypt. On that we have a method called compare, And here we are going to compare the password the user is providing as password, and then the password inside the DB as user.password. So as soon as we call the controller, we have access to the data the user is providing. So here we have the plain password and then the password that has been saved in the DB. And this function is going to return true or false. In case it matches, it's going to return true, otherwise it's going to return false. Down here, in case it matches, and that is match, then we are going to return the actual user by calling done. The first argument is going to be null, that is the error, and then the second argument is going to be the actual user, which has been found over here. Else, and that is in case it doesn't match, then we are going to return and call done, and then the first argument is going to be null, second false, and then third is going to be the message, and we will say that password incorrect, or we can say that invalid login credentials or details. So let me provide the same message to this one, and inside the catch here we are going to return done and then pass in the error message. And that is it. And lastly, let's export as module.export is equal to passport. So now we have to call or use this configuration inside our main file, in this case server.js file. So here let's require the passport configuration, which is this. I have the auto import, which is down here, and let me bring it up here as that. And let's plug in as a middleware. So here I will say passport middleware, and it's going to be as app.use, and then passport. On that we have a method called initialize as that. And that is it. With this configuration, we are done with the passport configuration. So in future, if you want to support Google or social login, we need to add the strategy also over here. This is the foundation. With this one being implemented, let's make sure that the server is working. And here I think I have an error, which means that passport is not defined. So let's install the package as npmi passport, and let's try again. And now it is working. Let's continue to implement the login logic in the next video.